Stop me if you've heard this one. Tubes for rock and vocals, solid state for classical and jazz. What percentage of your music library sounds incredible on your current setup? If you answered 40 to 60%, you're exactly where the industry wants you to be, locked into one topology, forever compromising on half of your collection. Tube owners won't admit their amps turn techno into molasses. And solid-state purists won't tell you they suck the life out of Stevie Ray Vaughan. The manufacturers, they're counting on you buying both. iFi Audio just burned that playbook with the iDSD Phantom, the amp that just made choosing obsolete. Here's what the hi-fi industry doesn't tell you. A high-quality, dedicated headphone amplifier is going to cost you anywhere between $2,000 and upward of $4,000 plus, and you still have to pick a side. Tubes or solid state? Warmth or precision? Musical or analytical? Which will it be? Because you can't have both. At least that's what you thought. The iDSD Phantom tosses that false narrative in the trash by giving you 3 distinct amplification circuits in a single chassis. You get solid state amplification, tube amplification, and a tube plus amp mode, all at the flip of a switch. The solid-state circuit uses a discrete JFET design for lightning-fast, distortion-free precision. You know, that level of transparency and detail that those discerning audiophiles demand. The tube circuit uses hand-selected new old stock GE 5670 vacuum tubes right underneath the hood, delivering warmth, harmonic richness, and liquid smoothness. You know, that magic that just solid-state simply can't touch. And Tube Plus mode is the happy middle, where you get a lowered loop gain design that retains solid state resolution while introducing subtle tube warmth. Think of it as the best of both worlds. I spent considerable time testing all 3 modes with the Dan Clark E3 headphones, the Meze Audio Strata headphones, and specifically Bad Bunny's track Nouveau. So, I already know that I butchered that, so please don't come at me in the comments. It's going to be posted right here, so if I didn't pronounce it right, this is the track. It's an orchestral heavy track with rapid fire rapping. I'm talking Bad Bunny is speaking faster than I could even type words per minute here. And it exposes exactly how well this system can handle that level of speed and detail. So in solid state mode, the Phantom was articulate, accurate, and quick. Bad Bunny's vocals cut through the hype of the instrumentation like a samurai slaying a dragon. And then when I switched over to tube mode, I suddenly got this clubbier feel to the track, you know. I'm talking an emphasized low end, a mellower mid-range, and overall just a more musical presentation. The precise edges of those various instruments that were present in the solid state track were still there, they just had rounded corners, you know? A little mellower, a little lusher, but it still maintained that quick tempo that just makes the song. Now for Tube Plus mode, this became my sweet spot. I found myself continuing to go back to this mode during my listening sessions, and I think this is the reason why. It kept the mellower character, but it added definition back to Bad Bunny's vocals, which were too relaxed in that pure tube mode for my personal taste. I enjoyed the same track with the same headphones, 3 completely different ways, and that in and of itself sounds like a fairy tale, but don't worry, I won't need to pinch you because this is reality here. Whether you're enjoying classical passages, intricate jazz, pop, hip hop, or maybe like a coffeehouse radio station, the Phantom sound quality is truly versatile. It will complement a wide variety of genres, pleasing the likes of you and your friends, that is, if you decide to share. Now the Phantom's flexibility doesn't just stop there though. iFi Audio has equipped this unit with 3 power modes, a normal, turbo, and a nitro mode. Why? Because 3 is better than 1, duh. Most amplifiers force you to use the same gain setting for everything. And while that approach is all fine and dandy, it doesn't really cater to anyone that has a large headphone collection. The Phantom's normal mode is optimized for sensitive IEMs and efficient headphones. So this will provide you with a dead silent noise floor and appropriate gain structure. This mode will drive most dynamic and lower impedance headphones with ease. Turbo mode targets mid-sensitivity headphones that just need that additional boost of power, but they don't require maximum output. It's the balanced sweet spot. And nitro mode is, well, nitro, unleashing 7,747 milliwatts of maximum power with 18.4 volts maximum output voltage. This mode is designed to drive even the most demanding headphones in your collection, say things like the Hi-Fi Mansusfara or the Meze Audio Empyrean. The Phantom doesn't just play back your music, it gives you ultimate control over how it sounds. Through X-Bass Pro and X-Space Pro processing, JVC Kenwood's K2 HD technology, selectable digital filters, and DSD remastering up to DSD 2048. This, plus streaming integration, is all managed through the iFi Nexus app or the front panel controls. As audiophiles, we're always chasing the extra percentage point to get us as close as possible to that original recording. And sometimes, no matter how hard we try, we need a little extra help. And the Phantom gives you those tools. Let's start with iFi's bread and butter here. That is the X-Bass Pro and X-Space Pro enhancements. As implied by the name, X-Bass Pro provides bass enhancement at 3 frequency points, 10 Hz, 20 Hz, and 40 Hz. Now this isn't just generic bass boosting that's going to distort and bloat the entire recording so that you're left with nothing but that wubby bass sound. X-Bass Pro boosts low frequencies without clouding the mid-range. It's the perfect solution for open-back headphones or tracks that just need that fuller low-end presence. X-Space Pro addresses the common in-your-head sound that some headphone listeners might experience and not like. It introduces subtle inter-channel delays and level differences that stimulate spaciousness while still preserving clarity and detail. So you're going to get a more natural, lifelike presentation without sacrificing what makes headphones truly special. JVC Kenwood's K2 HD technology restores depth, nuance, and musicality by reintroducing harmonic content lost during the production process. And for those of you who want those sonic benefits but you don't want to change the sample rate, well, K2 HD's K2 mode offers similar enhancements without upsampling. But wait, we're not done here. The Phantom's digital filters, including Bit Perfect, Bit Perfect Plus, GTO, Transient Aligned, and Apodizing, each subtly shape the time domain response to suit your personal taste. Bit Perfect delivers pure, untouched playback. GTO upsamples for added density and detail. Transient Aligned reduces HF noise for a smooth, controlled, relaxed sound quality, and Apodizing upsamples with greater post-ringing for a sound that's similar to GTO, but it just has softer edges. And if that wasn't enough for you, why don't you try out the Phantom's DSD remastering engine, converting PCM and DSD files to DSD 512, DSD 1024, or DSD 2048. Network streaming reaches full capability on the Phantom with PCM support up to 760 kHz and DSD 512 natively via Wi-Fi or a wired Ethernet connection, and of course access to that DSD 2048 through the onboard remastering engine. All of this and more is controlled through that iFi Nexus app I mentioned earlier. This app gives you complete control of every feature, from input selection and volume adjustment to things like remote firmware updates and detailed track information. The Phantom streaming capabilities include native integration with Qobuz Connect, Tidal Connect, and Spotify Connect. This lets you browse and control each service directly from its own app, then cast playback right back to the Phantom. The Nexus app is easy to use, but I get it. Sometimes we're creatures of habit, so having that native integration is pretty sweet. Now, for those of you who don't use one of those streaming services, there are other ways for you to access your music. The unit also supports Apple AirPlay 2, DLNA, UPnP, NAA, and Roon Network protocols, so you can access your music wherever it's stored. Now you've invested in a reference class component like the Phantom, and you're missing a few cables to get yourself started. That's where Moon Audio's Dragon cables come into play. We've designed these cables specifically for audiophiles who demand every ounce of performance from flagship gear like the Phantom. And while I wish I could sit here and spend our time recommending every single cable in our collection, I'll stick to the essentials here. The Silver Dragon USB cable, the Silver Dragon network cable, and the Silver Dragon interconnect cable. Each of these cables uses our UPOCC silver conductors that preserve digital signal integrity with minimal jitter and interference. When you're streaming high-resolution files and DSD content to the Phantom, the Silver Dragon ensures that data arrives exactly as it should. All of our Dragon cables are handcrafted in our facility, custom built to your exact specifications, and backed by hundreds of audiophile reviews. Trust me, once you hear what the Phantom can do with a proper Dragon audio cable as its foundation, you won't go back. If you haven't already, take everything you think you know about high-end audio and throw it out the window. The iDSD Phantom not only challenges what's possible sonically, but aesthetically too. This unit enters a room and it demands attention, so much so that it deceives you with the appearance of two separately stacked units, but it's actually just a single dual-level device. The top layer features two control knobs flanking a small round display screen in the middle. The left knob controls navigation and power, and the right knob, that's solely dedicated to volume. Nestled between them are two tiny buttons, one for switching between operation modes and one for switching gain. And directly below that, almost hidden, you'll find 5 buttons right here. Your back button that also acts as a DSD remastering button, quickly access filters, turn on that K2HD technology, or access XSpace Pro and XSpace Pro right here. The display screen is small but mighty, with access to 10 different menus, including settings, brightness, and input selection. Right here on the bottom layer, you've got everything you need to get started headphone listening, a 3.5mm single-ended output, 2 combo jacks that you can use either with a 1/4-inch headphone output or 3-pin XLR, a balanced 4-pin XLR, a 4.4mm headphone output, and then hiding right over here, a USB-C digital input. And now for the back panel, where you'll find a set of balanced XLR outputs, a set of RCA outputs, USB-A inputs, a USB-B input, an optical input, a service USB port, a coax input, an AES EBU input, an Ethernet port, a clock in and clock out port, an M12 connector, and then our power. This is comprehensive connectivity right here that eliminates the dreaded "I can't connect" that moment that we've all faced. iFi Audio doesn't skimp on connectivity, and they don't skimp on accessories either. You get 2 USB cables, an OptiBox, a 5-volt OptiBox power adapter, an iPower Elite 15-volt power supply, an infrared remote control, an RJ45 cable, an RCA cable, an SCSC fiber optic cable, a quick start guide, and an instruction card. The only thing that they didn't include was a technician to come to your house and set it up for you, but you don't need one because it's extremely easy to do so. The iDSD Phantom is not a component designed to blend into the background. Between the two-tone chassis, the perforated rounded edges, removable glass top layer, and the detachable front panel cover that conveniently stores on the back of the unit when you're not using those front panel connections, the Phantom is a unit that just sparks conversation. At 10.1 inches by 7.3 inches by 4.7 inches in size, the Phantom is compact and it can be positioned easily in a desktop setup, maybe on a shelf, even tucked away into a cabinet. But here's the real value of this unit, and spoiler, it isn't just about saving space. By consolidating everything into a single chassis, you eliminate the need for multiple power supplies, a tangled mess of audio cables, and potential failure points in your signal chain. The Phantom's quad-stack DAC configuration uses 4 burr-brown DAC chips, delivering exceptional low-level detail retrieval, plus galvanic isolation on digital inputs eliminates electrical interference before it reaches the signal path. With the Phantom, you get this reference class performance every step of the way. Let it serve as a standalone DAC feeding your entire speaker system, or let it be the dedicated headphone amp you need with multiple outputs. It can be your high-res network streamer, or it can serve as the complete all-in-one desktop solution that your audio system is desperately lacking. iFi Audio puts the control back into your hands. At just under $5,000, the iFi Audio iDSD Phantom proves that flagship audio doesn't require choosing between tubes and solid state, between power and versatility, or between separate components and space-saving integration. Intelligent engineering like this means you get reference-level performance in a single chassis that adapts to every recording, every headphone, and every listening preference without compromise. Whether you're using it as your primary DAC, your headphone amp, your streamer, or all three simultaneously, the Phantom delivers performance that stands alongside competing components that cost significantly more, all while giving you flexibility that those separates simply can't touch. If you want to go even deeper into the engineering and design philosophy behind the Phantom, we invite you to check out our Fidelity Exchange interview, where we sit down with iFi Audio's co-founder Vincent Luke and product specialist Nate Chin. They break down the technical innovations that make this unit possible. I'm linking it on the screen right now, right here. It's the perfect deep dive after what we just covered here. Check it out now.